a pleasure to welcome Robert Kowalski back. He's the author of the new 8-week cholesterol cure, now out in paperback. Tell me a little bit about the whole situation with the family. I understand that your father died of a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a number of heart problems that you've surmounted, and your son Ross at an early age began to evidence the fact that he might have some propensity towards those problems. Can you explain how that works in the family and what you do to work as a family?
Well, it's an interesting thing. People assume that heart disease is something that comes on somehow or another in middle age or older.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is that we know today that heart disease begins in childhood. So one of the risk factors that can be checked before a child's even born. We could literally take what's called the placental blood out of the cord and draw the blood, and you'll see whether a child's cholesterol level is elevated or not. That's certainly not recommended for everyone, but the thing is, if there is a family history, as there has been, as you said, in my family, early on I tested my kids. They were 7 and 4 respectively. My son Ross, age 7, and my daughter Jenny at 4, to test for their cholesterol levels to find out. And many pediatricians today are doing that, especially in cases like mine where there's a strong family history. And by golly, if those cholesterol levels are up, it's especially important to start emphasizing heart-healthy lifestyle. Not that everyone shouldn't do this, but it's particularly important with those with the family history. And by that I mean, look, play with your kids. Go out and actively play with the kids. You're not going out and exercising, but you're benefiting yourself by being physically active with the child, throwing the frisbee, playing catch with a ball, whatever it happens to be. Take the dog out for a run along with you, throw the stick, you know, all those kinds of things to play with the kids. And what I did with my children when they were little, they're grown now, is we would go grocery shopping together, and I'd let them make some selections. And as they got a little older and started to learn to read, I taught them how to read a nutrition label and to see how much fat was in various things. And long story, but I wrote a book on children's health at one point and brought the kids along with me when I was doing a media tour. And my son Ross, at that time, let's see, he would have been 10 years old. And here he was on a major television show, and he just looked into the camera after somebody had asked him a question and said, you know, in our household, fat is the F word. I thought that was great. But the point is that it literally can become part of a normal lifestyle for kids and for us as well to just have this a routine part of life. And now I can tell you very happily that neither child has any problem with weight. They're both very physically active. They've never smoked a cigarette, and they're well on their way to doing what I said is possible in the subtitle of that book I wrote on children and cholesterol, and that is how to give your children a future free of heart disease. My motivation at the very beginning was to stay alive long enough to raise them into adulthood, or even early adulthood. I would have made a deal back then just to get them into college so they'd be sort of on their own. Now I've gotten greedy, and now the doctors have told me that my heart health is very good, and I want to do something, Lyle, that my dad was never able to do because he died of his heart attack, his one and only heart attack, at age 57. Long before I had children, met my wife, so he never had the opportunity to meet his grandchildren. And now my motivation in life is I want to stick around to do what my dad never did, to bounce those babies on my knee, to take them out to their first ball game, to introduce them to the birds that I love so much, to enjoy my grandchildren, and by golly, I'm going to keep working at staying healthy for them and for me.
Good for you. Thanks again.
My pleasure, Lyle.